Hello everybody, it is Monday the 3rd of January. Before I start this video, I want to really thank Michael, Julia, for your gifts. When I made the video asking for help, I really didn't know what to expect. And when I checked this morning, I was completely overwhelmed. It's actually taken me until now to be able to make this video. It made such a difference to me. And I thank you so much for your generous gifts. Thank you. So, then let me now talk about what came to me last night. And that is still thinking about the conundrum that we are and how we keep getting it wrong. The conundrum that we are is created through the way that we were created. Now, according to the Bible, and as we know ourselves, we were made from the dust of this earth. And it is the knowledge of this world, and that is a knowledge of connectivity. It is what gives us empathy, through which we know others, and through which we know love and compassion, and through which we know how others feel, because we know it in ourselves. So that is the knowledge of the dust. And then this God breathed his life into us. Now life is that which drives you forward. It is a necessary part of life. You need to have an intention, or you never get out of bed. Something that motivates you. So that is what he gave to us. So we have the knowledge of the connectivity, and we have something that drives us forward. And the two are seemingly not compatible, which creates the conflict inside of us. It is not seemingly not compatible, and we need to know what the function of it is inside of ourselves. What are we? What function does it have inside of ourselves? And only if we understand that can we use it correctly outside of ourselves. At this moment in time, the intention, the life that was breathed into us, the intention to possess, the intention to rule over, to have dominion, to subdue others in order to elevate yourself, mostly. It is inside of us, and we know it, and because of that they can speak to that. It is not the function it should have. It's not, at the moment it functions like a receiver, that intention, through which we can be led. So, and God is the fullness of this intention, and he created us so we would serve him, to have his will being done. And as I said, because that intention is inside of us, it can speak to us. So it functions like a receiver. And it does not always work, because as I said, we have two ways of knowing. God says to you, I will make righteous. I will dress in white linen, that which serves me. I am that I am, my will shall be done, and I am my own justification. Whereas our other knowing can quite often not justify what that intention demands of us. You know, to rule over others, to subdue others, to take of others. Our empathy tells us that's not right. So we don't believe on his justification. Now, the way of Jesus, and it is because of our connectivity, of the knowledge of others. So we know what's been done to it, we know what that feels like. We used to be connected to pretty much everything. But our connections have withered. We've been taken away from our natural surroundings, from our natural social groups. So these connections have withered because in the end that is what Jesus did. Where this thing demands that you should love it. Now the only way you can unconditionally love God, this intention, and serve it, is by severing the knowledge of the others, the knowledge of their pain, the understanding of it, and you must be focused just on that. And that is what Jesus did. And in the end, it's a marriage where the bride, it said the bride is making herself ready, and she makes herself in such a way that she can serve her husband. It's not truly her anymore, but she has become something that would serve, and that is not right. And I mean, there are those that run with this thing. I mean, humanity as a whole has run with it for a long time now, where we've been told we have dominion over, we should rule over the plants and the animals, and we should have dominion, and that was fine, and we ran with that. And we took everything we could get. We're now obviously waking up to the realization that we are destroying that which sustains us. And we're also waking up to the realization that there is something out there that is thinking about us in exactly the same way, where we are to them no more than cattle. You know, and where it's probably fine if you do it to the plants and the animals, if it's done to you, it suddenly doesn't seem so righteous anymore. So we're beginning to question this. I mean, for the longest part, we were told to do away with our lower nature, because that is what stands in the way of service. You know, where our other understanding is questioning the righteousness of God. And now we're coming to a point where we're saying, well, that is actually evil. That intention is evil, but that intention is within me. So are we doing away with that half of ourselves? It's just like, are we going to cut off our head to save the body? It won't work, so don't do it. As I said, it is being used at the moment as a receiver, that we would know that intention and it could speak to us. But it is a question of righteousness, of being morally justified. Yeah? And everything that is created is of the light. So this intention of, to possess, to rule over, and to have dominion is created of the light. And I said evil is coming into being when you use something the wrong way, or in the wrong place, or at the wrong time, or you just don't use it as you should, where it would be light. Everything can be light because it's made of it. So we're using this thing as a receiver, and it is not light. It does not make us do things that are light. And I mean, even right now when we're waking up to this knowledge, I mean, for a long time, the intention to have dominion has been using this other knowledge by saying, go to war because you are liberating those people. You're doing something for your brothers and sisters. Or, produce as much as you can because it will produce wealth for all. Or, do away with all of your rights right now because it will keep everybody safe. So they've been working a way where they're appealing to our other knowledge, making us think we're doing the right thing. Of course, we are increasingly seeing the outcomes, and they're not what it was supposed to be. So how do you use this part of yourself in a way that it becomes light? That is the question. Not to be led by something outside of you that wants to have dominion over you. Not to be led to do its works. That is not its function. So, finding a place where it is light, where it is morally justifiable, that you should have complete possession, that you should completely rule over, and that you should have complete dominion over something. What is that? Where it would become light. And that is yourself. That is the only place where that intention is morally justifiable. And it is taking ownership of yourself. Taking ownership of yourself. Not giving ownership of yourself to something else. Because it gives you things, and it elevates you to a higher position in society or whatever, which speaks to, but no, not inside of yourself. Take ownership of yourself, rule over your parts, because you're not just one thing. You are a bottomless pit of thoughts, and you are a large sliding scale of emotions. And it is when the two come together that you interact with this matrix. I mean, they gave you that knowledge or that desire, as I said, as a receiver, but never ever so that you should use it in the correct way, because that will lead to the true birth of an I am. When you rule over your thoughts and your emotions, having dominion means you understand the complete workings of this, and you can work it at will. And then you are and I am. Then how, when you're able to do that, if you're ever able to do that, how should you work that? Or what should you work with it? And there is the next step where a lot goes wrong. And that is, I have worked for this. I am now my own master. And this has been given to me. I have dominion over myself so I can have dominion over others. And this is where it goes horribly wrong, quite often. You know, I am self-made. Therefore, that gives me the right to rule over others. You can see that in this world. Wisdom. Wisdom is to have this capability, to have the fullness of the understanding you are your own master, and you are morally justified in being that. You have got a right to self-determination. That is your right. And to understanding, not being driven by lies one way or another, not being driven into one emotion or another, but to have full autonomy. You have the right to be that. That's the one thing they don't want you to have. Now, how to use that wisely is you were made of two parts. And there the other part comes into play. And it shows you how to use that for good. Through your empathy. Through your knowledge of connectivity. I mean, you can use it for myself. You can. Absolutely. But you are creating conflict if you do. As you are creating or are being part of a conflict if you're serving something that is working this for itself. So you're no longer becoming the servant of a wrecking ball, you're becoming the wrecking ball yourself. Which I don't know if that's an improvement. So then wisdom is to bring the knowledge of what you can do to the knowledge of what you should do. And that is the knowledge of your connectivity. How will it affect others? And you should work it for good. You should work it to give. Those that are given the most should be the greatest servants to all. And also receiving for yourself. Yeah, it's again this for myself. I ask nothing. Does serve something that wants dominion over you outside of you. You know, you become a complete doormat. You must receive. I mean, even if you want to become a functioning human being in the human body, then you are a cell in that body and every cell receives, otherwise it cannot do its function. So of course you must receive for yourself. But then know how much for myself, there's wisdom again, how much for myself and how much can I give and where can I give. And again, empathy will tell you that. Where can I give correctly? Give to that which you know. And if you don't know it, you know, you might be better off not meddling with it or not trying to give to it because you might give the wrong thing. You know, knowing where you can help and knowing where it's best to do nothing for you. Let somebody else step forward to do because they're better qualified to do so. So that's the workings of your entire self, of both parts. And it's not that neither of them is evil. They're both light. They just need to be used in the right way. And the intention to have dominion can only be used in complete righteousness, being completely morally justified, if you use it on yourself. That is the only place. And there you have the right to do so, the right to self-determination. And maybe we should look at it now pretty much as a duty. We should find this knowledge of ourselves, because we are being used for evil. And as long as we do not have dominion over ourselves, we can be used as for evil. So maybe then there's a duty that we have to ourselves and to everybody else to get the correct understanding of ourselves and to get a hold of ourselves and to use ourselves correctly. So there is two masters. They're only masters over you if you are not master over yourself. If you don't rule over yourself, something else will. But what is out there is inside of yourself. And it's inside of yourself that you must work it correctly. And then outside of yourself no longer has power over you. You're free. You are and I am. And I say use subject wisely. Don't become the next wrecking ball. Anyway, I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.